It's a good scream. It's a good scream.
Next up, we talk about everyone's favorite Brian De Palma movie, Blowout.
And please go ahead and do us a favor. Subscribe to our channel. Like this video. It is completely free. It lets YouTube know that you like us. It lets us know that you like us. And we all love movies, so it's a win-win.
What the hell are you talking about, huh? How do you know that?
September 6th, 4K Ultra HD from Criterion, which has already been released by Criterion on Blu-ray. This is just the same art and everything, which is badass art. I think this looks cool. So this movie was released in 1981. So I was fortunate enough to watch this movie based on Russ's recommendation. So it's fresh in my mind. I didn't know that it was based on a book from 1961. Brian De Palma borrowed, I don't know if it was in its entirety or just concepts of it, a book called Blowout, which I think was more to do with not sound effect recording, but photography. At the time, what was he known for, Russ?
Well, Dressed to Kill was the year before.
Dressed to Kill.
More controversial. I guess Carrie would have been his
Yep.
biggest film at this point.
Yep. And then he did Scarface right after this.
Yeah, 83.
Yeah, right after this. That's pretty wild to me that it's like this movie and then Scarface. Like there couldn't be two more different films.
I'd like to think this is our finest film.
So when you recommended this movie to me, you explained it's John Travolta's Nancy Allen, which I saw in the trailer, but I also saw John Lithgow in the trailer, which you did not mention up front. And he's also a pivotal sort of character in this movie, and he's doing his thing.
I know. As soon as I forgot to mention him, and I was like, wait, you're a fan of Dexter. And I was like, hey, he's a psycho again in this. Like, I should have brought that up.
Shut up, cunt.
It's a movie about John Travolta, who is like a sound effects engineer for what seems to be like really low budget movies. The whole concept of this movie, I think I really like. But he accidentally records audio of a supposed like assassination attempt on like a presidential candidate. And the movie just kind of like goes from there. You explained to me that it's now known as probably Brian De Palma's best in his catalog, maybe in hindsight. But I guess at the time it was critically acclaimed, but it didn't do really anything as far as audience is concerned. But I guess it's increased in its stature over time. Is that what you're saying?
I suppose. I mean, you just Google it. I mean, Tarantino probably said that at one point.
He said it's one of his Desert Island picks, along with Crystal Skull.
Shit.
Right off the bat, I love this concept of this movie. I thought it was so cool to see just old school filmmaking being done. Like aside from like what the movie's about, just like the mechanisms at which the plot unfolds with, like the sound recording, how tapes are being spliced together, all this old technology, him viewing the stuff. Just look at this cover. Like him,
that's basically what it is.
Him in this room with all of his recordings and things. It's just such a cool time capsule of a moment where shit is just not done this way anymore. No. Like at all. And I think I said to you, if John Travolta had a cell phone, this movie's 10 minutes long. Like he figures out the whole thing immediately.
That's
like,
every movie.
Exactly. But I mean, that's what made this movie nice and special for me to watch. It's like you're watching a bygone era, but in watching it, it's so interesting and compelling and enthralling, and watching him piece all these things together in a frantic way. Like I got to run to this guy to help me with this picture, and I got to run over to here. And you're like on the train with him, like solving this mystery in this really cool way. I really like that.
And I think it also has De Palma's sort of trademark melodrama in it.
Yes.
And it's an epic melodrama.
Yeah,
and
it is epic.
And I love it. What he does in damn near every movie, but it's epic in here. Like the end of this movie is way more epic than you're probably expecting when you're watching it, like the first hour in. You're not expecting a car chase scene and during a parade and fireworks and all that. You're not expecting any. I wasn't, Philly.
Yeah, I was going to say too, like watching this movie, they reference things in Philly that are like being built, that are now built, and it's kind of cool. Like, oh, that's the construction site of Reading Terminal Market or something. It was like, here's the construction zone. That's where like someone's killed. Wow.
For those watching or listening, we live outside Philadelphia.
Yeah, Brian De Palma more than me, especially films like this. Like I know Scarface obviously really well, but all the intrigue, the double crossing, like just this, you can't, who can you trust? Like there's a lot of sleazy characters going on, and they do some slight reveals. Dare I say that this movie kind of has a down ending, which I don't think that you see as much anymore. Like you would not see maybe the same ending. And apparently that was my feeling watching it. But then apparently when I was, again, reading a little bit about this, at the time this came out, there was word of mouth about that fact that maybe drew or kind of steered people away because the ending was like sour a little bit.
Blowout gets down to somebody trying to find out what actually happened. And my conclusion was, even if they could figure out who was on the grassy knoll, no one would care anymore.
I could understand that if it was the late 80s.
Yeah.
But the early 80s, I mean, 70s American films.
Yeah, there was a lot of down
endings back then.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm surprised people were that. Maybe because it's John Travolta.
Yeah, and
Maybe it's because this is Mr. Grease, Saturday Night
True.
Fever.
Why the fuck does everything have to be a conspiracy, huh?
And I don't want to besmirch this movie in any way by saying this movie has a down ending and that's bad. It's the way that it ends is not the way that a traditional movie these
it's
days
not a
will
down
end.
ending where like, oh fuck, everybody dies. It's
Yeah.
not that.
No,
I know exactly
yeah,
what
it's
you
like
mean.
you don't have like a great feeling. Like this movie is just such a it's like just in a weird way, like how it all ends up. Like I don't know.
Just
It's just.
No, it is. That's yeah.
Like it's just that's just yeah.
That's a good way. I'm trying to find another word myself, and I'm like, it's just.
It is.
That is a
And
good way of putting it. For me, that hits.
It does, and that's why
hits.
that hit for me too. It was like I like that they took maybe not like you said, maybe not then that wasn't brave or maybe even controversial, but now you don't see movies that have that kind of an ending anymore.
Is that right?
John Travolta, awesome. Nancy Allen, who I've only ever known from RoboCop. I was like, who the hell is this lady? You know, dude, she's like a beautiful woman.
You see, this took me 2 hours, and this is the no makeup look.
It's the short hair.
It's the short hair.
It's the short hair.
She chopped her hair up. She
But
just
see,
looks like a beautiful woman in this.
She is a beautiful
She is a
woman.
bu-
And dude,
I'm a pig.
she was in Carrie. She's in Dress to Kill. This is like, I believe, like the 4th movie,
Yeah,
maybe.
and I don't even want to just focus on her
Palma.
looks. She's an amazing actress. I guess I was just shocked by the fact that it was like, wow, this is the RoboCop lady?
Yes.
John Lithgow we mentioned, and not until Dexter and not until Raising Cain, because I did see Raising Cain. Not until then did I see John Lithgow as a person that could play something really bizarre and twisted, because I've only ever known him as like the Footloose dad and Harry and the Hendersons dad and all these like wholesome things.
Like, I was never in love with Footloose as a kid. I did love Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
But I also loved this movie called Ricochet.
Yeah.
And John Lithgow is a psycho. He's fucking insane.
So you already know him as that.
So I already kind of in my mind always saw him as like, oh, he's dark.
Mr. Blake, what will you do if you get out of prison?
Well, I guess, Mr. Chairman, that first I'd pay a visit to your house.
To thank me, I suppose.
No. To fuck your wife. And your daughter. Hell, maybe even your dog.
Let's talk about just the direction for a second, because I know you're a huge fan of Brian De Palma, and I only know a little, and you mentioned to me before I watched this that all of his signature moves are on display. So I was really interested to see this and see a master at work.
I mean, he riffs on Hitchcock a lot. And this is a movie that probably doesn't riff on Hitchcock as much as Dress to Kill or Sisters. This movie kind of has all the mishmashings of every other De Palma movie in it.
It is very apparent, like the moves that he makes and the different styles he chooses, whether it's the soft focus, the split screen.
Yeah.
That thing that I couldn't explain to you what it was called, but I looked it up. It's called the split diopter effect. He takes like a half of like a camera lens over top, so like someone seems far away and someone seems close.
Yes.
Like you said, that spinning scene. It took me like a second to get that this hadn't stopped or cut yet. And I was like, whoa, what's happening? And then I was like getting dizzy watching it.
But it's beautiful
badass.
too, because I mean, subconsciously it's showing you how erratic John Travolta is in that moment, trying to piece all the shit together, because it keeps going faster and faster and faster. And you're in his mindset. He's just an underrated director. It's because of the movies he made that people never gave him his due. They're always lurid. But I love that he never changed. He just kept doing fucking lurid movies. That's just what he was into. That's why he's one of the GOATs.
So just to, conclude, I guess, with this movie in terms of its history, it was considered a failure at the time. It only made $13 million on an $18 million budget. Although here's what critics said about it. They called it intelligent filmmaking that you're included in, not a passive viewer. And as soon as I read that quote, I was like, 100%, because that's how I felt.
That's a great quote.
Dude, I literally, every step of the way was I with John Travolta. Like they put you in his shoes almost, like right away.
Oh yeah, because you're figuring it out as he is.
Yeah,
he's the one investigating. He's the one keeping it going, and you're in his shoes. He is your humble narrator.
And you mentioned, Brian De Palma, who went on to do a bunch of other stuff like Scarface, Body Double, The Untouchables, Casualties of War, and of course Carlito's Way.
I like all those movies you just named. I stop at Carlito's Way.
Yeah.
And you know why? I'm scared. After like Mission to Mars and shit like that, I'm just scared. And it's like, let me remember you
a different way.
It's like the great filmmaker. Somebody recommend me a great De Palma film post Mission Impossible, and I will check that out.
I did not end up picking this up at the time of the sale. I watched this movie, and I don't know, it was a movie that I really, really liked a lot. And then I don't know if I talked myself out of it, but it was kind of a thing where I was like, I don't know if I need to buy that exactly. But then upon sort of thinking about it more and kind of preparing for this and even having this conversation, I really feel like it is a movie that I would love.
Honestly, we're sitting here talking. I'm like, I might watch this tonight.
I mean, dude, that's the thing.
Been a little while.
I'm sitting here thinking like, God, I wish I could watch this now. Like, I want to rewatch this already.
It's great.
Dude. It is. It's really, really good. There isn't any screenshots of it, but from the couple of reviews I read, because there is some reviews available of this movie in 4K, apparently it's like a knockout.
Now the sound is very clear. It's the picture that's a little fuzzy.
Out September 6th from Criterion.
Oh gosh, okay. I just wanted to thank you for loving me and caring and wishing me happy birthday. I appreciate it.